Very good morning to all on this Zoom platform for today's. Am I audible there, madam?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So I'm very delighted for the day because of the webinar series we are going to conduct from the Department of Mechanical Engineering, JSS Academy of Technical Education. This is the first webinar from our department, wherein Shri Raghavendra measures Akruti 3D Printing Private Limited, who is located in-house of NITK Surathkal, Mangalore, who met me on a platform, learning platform like this, and we bonded together. It is really nice to have associated with him for this webinar. I take this opportunity on behalf of the JSS Academy of Technical and in particular Department of Mechanical Engineering in welcoming him. I also welcome all the participants from our college, my faculties, my students, industry people from various organizations, as well as faculty members from different colleges across the state. So we welcome you for this webinar, sir. And before this webinar starts, I would seek the blessings of our Holiness Sri Jagat Guru Deshikendra Mahaswamiji, who is the source of inspiration for doing all such activities in our institute, and in particular our joint director, Dr. H.R. Mahadev Swami sir, who has been in the forefront in inspiring us to take up such activities during this particular pandemic to keep ourselves engaged. And also our principal, Dr. Mutunjay V. Latte, who has been constantly inspiring and promoting us to do such activities and enlighten with ourselves with various topics which are in the current scenario gaining popularity as well as of interest. So I would hand over the mic or the talk to Sri Raghavendra of Akruti 3D Private Limited. Sir, I would like to introduce before he starts, Sri Raghavendra S of Akruti 3D Printing Private Limited is an aerospace engineer. He has been an entrepreneur and has 3 years of research experience from NIT Surathkal in the field of computational fluid dynamics and aerodynamics. He is a 3D printing enthusiast who has many academic accomplishments to his credit. He is the proud recipient of CSIR NAL Gold Medal for Best Project during the year 2016, and as well Jain University Gold Medal for securing first rank in aerospace. He has also won runner-up award at IM 3D Challenge 2015 organized by ASME held at Boston, Massachusetts, USA. He represented India as a student delegate and exchange student at Genesis, that is Japan East Asia Network of Exchange for Students and Youth, held at Tokyo, Japan during December 2011, sponsored by Ministry of Human Resources and Development, Government of India. This is his brief intro, and I leave the platform to Sri Raghavendra for his today's presentation on SLA 3D printing. Over to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Just before going to the presentation, like one of our team member, actually Kirtana, should like to give a brief intro about our team. What is our startup? What is our passion to start behind this?
Sure.
क्या पढ़ा सुने? ना समझा guys.
ठीक है, कितना मोटा हो गया, बड़ा आदमी सा दिख रहा है ना जी.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Suresh. And before beginning our about Akriti 3D, I would like to state a few important instructions during this webinar. First and foremost, we request all the participants to mute their microphone and to keep the camera off during the presentation. And if you have any questions or queries related to the session, you can please type it in the chat box.
फोन कर पूछा होगा.
Unmute the microphone when the host asks you to do so. And the link for feedback for this webinar will be provided to you at the end of the session. Okay. And as Dr. Suresh already gave a brief introduction about Mr. Raghavendra, who is the founder and CEO of Akriti 3D, I would be giving a brief about other team members from Akriti 3D. We have Mr. Surendra B, who is our Chief Financial Officer. He's an auditor and GST practitioner by profession and has more than 25 years of experience in various domains like manufacturing and service sectors. He's also an active Rotarian. Welcome, Mr. Surendra sir. And we have Mr. Revana Siddappa R, who is our academic director. He has 40 years of experience in education and pharmacy, and he's currently the chairman of Swami Vivekananda Memorial English School and in Shimoga, and president of Chetana English School. He's also an active Rotarian and has been a mentor for all of us in our academic offerings. And we have Mr. Naveen Kumar NT, who is our business strategist. He's a serial entrepreneur and ex-IBM, co-founder of Next Learning Center and managing director of Ratkeshwari Food and Beverages in Hulahati. He's been an active member for us in our business strategies. Welcome, Mr. Naveen sir. And next we have, now I would like to introduce to our core team. We are a group of friends with common interests and passions towards 3D printing technology. All of us are alumni of Jain University 2016, a batch of aerospace engineering. We have Mr. Lohit Porwal, who is our project head. He has worked in CFD industry and has 2 years of experience in Altem Technologies, and 2 years he has worked as a project assistant in IISc Bangalore. And next we have Mr. Samyak, who is our technical head. He has 3 years of experience in GTRE, that is Gas Turbine Research Establishment, a government research and development lab of defense in Bangalore. And then we have Mr. Vishrut Patil. He's our IT head. He has 3 years of experience in Siemens and 1 year of experience in GTS with a domain expertise of Android development and full stack development. Welcome, Lohit, Samyak, and Vishrut. And last but not the least, a brief intro about myself. I'm Keertana, and I'm heading the business operations of our venture. I have previously worked in Bangalore International Airport Limited as in the airside operations department. I have 4 years of work experience, and it's been 2.5 years since our startup was established, and we are helping small businesses and industries to adopt 3D printing technology in their workflows. And we are also helping academic institutes to implement project-based learning using design thinking methodology inspired by Stanford Design School conceptualization. Our initiative is called Avishkar, which means innovation, and our tagline is the spirit of innovation. And since most of our audience are students, we sincerely hope that our journey inspires you to take entrepreneurship as a viable option. We wish you to be job givers instead of job seekers. All our dreams can come true if we have the courage to pursue them. Okay, so this is our brief team intro. And now I would like to share a few information about our company. Is my screen visible?
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. So First, we would like to start off with a great quote, that is, we believe the next generation innovators and great leaders need to be great design thinkers. Okay, so our main campus, like we, as I already said, we are a team of young 3D printing enthusiasts, and our main campus is located at NITK Surathkal in a lush green campus, and it's in Mangalore. We are a one-stop solution for all your 3D design, render, prototyping, and scanning requirements. As I already mentioned about our team, and these are some of our services, a small brief about them. That is rapid prototyping, best price of to performance services like FDM, SLS, SLA, and DMLS, 3D printer sales and service. And we also have 3D design and rendering in organic, engineering, parametric, and latticing fixed models, STP to STL, DICOM to STL, repair broken STL, and scan models to STL. And our offerings in training and education include certified training courses for professionals, Tinker, prototyping, and innovation labs set up for schools and colleges. We in fact have a few labs which have been set up in few schools and colleges in Belgaum and Shimoga. And last but not least, a new product development, catering to specific businesses using design thinking methodology and industry standard tools and techniques. About our digital platform for learning, that is Avishkar, the spirit of innovation. It's a design thinking and project-based learning platform. So here we offer learning through experiments, through innovation, real-world based projects, hands-on training and workshop, experimental, student-centered, and team-taught courses, STEM learning modules ranging from agriculture to model rocketry. And we also have 50 plus design thinking projects. And all of these concepts and learnings are based on Stanford B-School conceptualization. Now I would like to hand over the mic to Mr. Raghavendra. He would take over this webinar session. Raghavendra, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Kirtana. So you saw our journey actually. So we are a young team. Basically, we are all passionate about design thinking as well as 3D printing technology. So coming to the core topic of today's discussion, let me just share my screen. Yeah, see, today the agenda of the meeting is this one. First, we'll learn what is 3D printing technology, and that to specific, actually, we are here to learn stereolithography 3D printing. And the machine demo we are going to give, that is actually Form 3B, and the technology in that is LFS technology, that is low force stereolithography. So what is so revolutionary about it, we'll see in that, and the complete workflow in this 3D printing process. Then we'll look at some of the benefits and cost analysis. We'll see varied applications in different domains. And finally, since most of the doctors are here, so I'd like to give a brief about how it can help in dental 3D printing as well. Kirtana, my screen is visible, right? And voice also.
Yes, very much, sir. Very much.
Okay, okay, sir. Yes, thank you. Thank you for the confirmation. So you might have heard about 2D printing. That is, normally we use printers for printing any paper or question paper. So what is it basically? So it's a 2D paper on which the ink is getting printed. So there are many printers, actually laser jet printers you might be knowing, and inkjet printers are there. In similar way, if we compare what is 3D printing is, we are adding one more dimension, and that dimension is thickness. for example, if you take a single sheet, like it will be having length and width, breadth and width, it will be there. But there is no thickness actually, very minute thickness will be there. But if you stack some 100 pages, then you will get one thickness. So that is basically the third dimension we are talking about. That is called as 3D printing. Here you can see in a 2D printer, you can print just a picture of Eiffel Tower. Whereas with the help of 3D printer, you can create a real 3D model of that Eiffel Tower. So it's basically a layered process. Whatever might be the object, so it will basically split into different layers. One by one layer will get deposited. So in manufacturing terms, it is called as additive manufacturing, because we are adding layer by layer to create the final geometry. And it is in contrast to the conventional manufacturing. So conventional manufacturing is subtractive. Basically, if you want to do idle, you take one rectangular block, you go on removing the material, whichever is not required. So that is called as subtractive. But in 3D printing, it's an additive process where you add the material wherever it is required. So that is why here the wastage is very less. You can say it is a zero wastage process, and it is a toolless process. So because material will be deposited wherever it is necessary, that's all. And there are many other names actually for this technology. Like people in 1990s, they used to call it automated fabrication. There's one popular book also by this name, AutoFab. What it means is we are using automation to fabricate things. That's why it was called as automated fabrication or AutoFab. Then it was called as freeform fabrication. Freeform means it is free of complexity, or the independence of the form is called as freeform fabrication. Since it is mostly used for prototyping and it reduces your development time, it was called as rapid prototyping. And stereolithography, this word actually it was coined by Charles Hull. So he's basically the inventor of this technology, and he invented it during 1986. And he founded a company by the name 3D Systems. So that was the first company to come up with this SLA 3D printing technology. And lithography, you might have heard this in the electronic semiconductor industry. If you see that word, it's a Greek word. Like litho means it is stone. Graphia means writing. So literally what it means, lithography is writing on stone. Earlier, artists used to do this. If they want to make some drawings on stone, they used to use this process. It's basically a chemical process. And stereolithography is one in which we use photopolymers. So that we are going to see in a short while. And as I told you, it is a layered process. So it can be called as layer-based manufacturing as well. And the 3D printing is the most popular word. This word actually, researchers at MIT, they used to use this word because inkjet 3D printing, inkjet printing technology, it was invented by researchers at MIT. So they thought we are just adding one dimension in this, and this would be an appropriate term, and it makes sense as well. So that is why this word became popular. Some coming to how the technology works. So these are brief steps I have given. So everything, it starts with an idea. Like if you want to build something, you have an idea, then you convert it into a digital design. And since most of engineering students are here, you might be aware of CAD tools like CATIA is there, SolidWorks. So you use that CAD tool to create the digital design of your product, and then you feed it into the machine. But you cannot feed the direct CAD file to the machine. As I told you, it's a layered process. We need to convert whatever you are design into various layers. So that process is called as slicing. So we have many open source slicing softwares as well. And there are proprietary softwares also, where the main objective is it will convert your digital design into this layered format. Then that will be converted into one more file format called as STL or stereolithography format that can be readable by a 3D printer. You might be knowing, like computer, what is the language it understands? It's binary language. So similar to that, a 3D printer understands a language known as G code or geometric code. So what this slicing software does is it converts your STL files into G codes. Then you feed whatever material you need. Then that material will be actually deposited in layers to create the final object. And that object you can automatically remove by hand also, or there are some systems which have automated this process. Then we can do basic post-processing techniques to obtain whatever qualities you want, like you want maximum surface finish, you want the strength. So all these qualities we can bring it to the model using post-processing techniques. So CNC machining, you might be heard. CNC is computer numerical control. When you compare that with 3D printing, what is the advantages means? 3D printing, it is free of complexity. So whatever may be the complex model, the machine doesn't understand it. So for example, in this, if you want to do the machining of this cup, here are some of the difficulties are mentioned. For example, the cavity may be too deep to machine, and there might be undercuts, and overhangs may be there. So all of these problems will be there associated with traditional manufacturing, that is CNC. But with the 3D printing, so all these complexities, it is free of that. So coming to various technologies, so it is all dependent on what material you want to print. For example, you want to print plastic material, or you want to print metal or sand or paper. So that depending on that, there are various technologies. Here you can see a broad classification. That is the 4 different classifications are there: polymerization, jetting, fusion, and deposition. Coming to the plastic regime, there are 2 major technologies. That is, one is FDM or fused deposition modeling, and next one is SLA or stereolithography 3D printing. So today in our webinar, we're going to focus on these 2 technologies. We'll compare FDM and SLA 3D printing. And nowadays 3D printing, they are applying to all the fields. Recently, you might have seen Nirmala Sitharaman. She was inaugurating the India's first 3D printed house. Before that, actually, even L&T ventured into similar on adventure. So it is actually construction 3D printing. So similarly, 3D bioprinting is there, where you can use live cells and tissues to make human organs. And there is wax you can print. And metal is actually the revolutionary part, where it is started to be the next industrial revolution. So industry 4.0, it is coming. So we are already on the verge of it, where additive manufacturing, it will play a major driving force for it. So first technology, let us see, that is fused deposition modeling. As the name itself suggests, fusing means the melting of the material. Deposition means it will go on depositing in some format so that it will create your model. Here you can see a basic schematic diagram. There is a heated nozzle is there, and the material is fed to the machine in the format of a filament. Here the material is thermoplastic material. That is polylactic acid we can use. So that is one of the best biodegradable thermoplastic there is. And we have ABS. That is, you can directly do functional prototypes using that. And we have some of the composites also, like carbon fiber reinforced PLA or carbon fiber reinforced ABS. And you might have seen plastic bottles. Those are PETG bottles. So PETG you can print. Nylon, it can be printed. So all these materials, it will be fed to the machine in the form of filament, and it gets melting or through that nozzle. Here you can see the nozzle. So that is the only part which gets heated in the entire machine. And their melting point will be in the range of 180 to 220 degrees Celsius. So when there will be an extruder, which would be forcing this filament to go through this, and then these layers are gradually deposited, and the build platform will be moving in Z direction. Whereas the nozzle and this gantry, as you can see, it moves in X and Y coordinates. That is how you get a complete 3D model. And it is the most popular 3D printing technology, and it is the most affordable one as well. So this is actually most popular consumer 3D printer, you can say. But it has its disadvantages, like you might not obtain the surface finish as you require, and the materials are limited, so it cannot be used for all applications. Only for the initial proof of concepts or prototyping you can use this technology. And there are many commercial brands available for FDM 3D printers. So here I would like to showcase our FDM 3D printer. So this is developed by our team. So where we have a range of printers, right from 200 by 200 bed size to 500 by 500 bed size. And with heated bed option, it is there. And many automatic features are there. Using this printer, what you can do, you can bring ideas to your life. So here I would like to show one time-lapse video of a customized mobile stand, which was printed at our facility. So here you can see there is a pattern you can see in that model. So that is called as infill. So normally using conventional manufacturing, either you can create complete solid models or hollow models. But this is one aspect of 3D printing, which is a great differentiator. You can make semi-solids. That is, inside of the material, you can give some patterns so that whatever strength you require, it will be there. But at the same time, it will reduce the weight. So this type of application, like in aerospace, this will play a very predominant role, where weight reduction is important, but your strength should remain the same. Then coming to the core of today's focus, that is SLA, or stereolithography process. As earlier I was explaining you, FDM is a mechanical process where the thermoplastic materials were using, and there was heating component. But SLA, in contrast to that, it's a chemical process. So it comes under a classification called as VAT photopolymerization, or it is commonly known as resin 3D printing. In this, there will be a photopolymer or a resin that when it comes into contact with the laser light or a certain wavelength of light, so it will react to form a hardened plastic. So it is called as curing basically. So the laser cures photopolymer resin in this technology. Here you can see the major parts of an SLA 3D printer, and configuration in which it prints is the upside down configuration. And you can see the build platform and how the support structures are there. We use laser beam for this, for the curing, and normally generally the spot size will be 85 micron, and galvanometers are used to position this laser beam exactly to where it want to cure them. And when you compare the accuracy you want to get from this printer, normally industrial SLS printer 350 micron is laser spot size, whereas in Form 3 it is 85 micron. And when you compare it with conventional FDM, as we saw that nozzles were there, that comes in 250 to 800 micron range. Here you can see the amount of accuracy you can achieve using SLA. And gradually, layer by layer, here also the same process is the same, layer by layer, but it is a chemical process. There is no heating component here, and instead of heat, actually light is used for curing. And there is some similar technology like this. It is called as digital light processing, or DLP technology. In this, the only difference is instead of laser light, if you use a projector or a visible light for curing, that is called as a DLP 3D printer. So until now, like we saw SLA 3D printing, but what is the next step? Still advancement in the stereolithography is the low force stereolithography 3D printing technology. So this technology, it's developed by a company called as Formlabs. So today what we are going to see the demo, it's based on this technology. So let us understand what is low force stereolithography. Normally in SLA, there will be peel forces. Like when you are curing the material, there will be heavy forces acting on the material, and the configuration is, as you have seen here, is upside down. Even because of this, there will be many forces. So in LFS, what is the difference is, there are two components involved in this. So one is the flexible tank. In the demo, you will see actually we use a resin tank, and here also you can see there's a resin tank. 9. Number 9 is the resin tank. So in LFS, the difference is we're using a flexible resin tank. And there is one more unit you can see, that is called as LPU, that is light processing unit. So in this, the build platform as well as the part, it first lowers into the liquid resin. Here you can see in the second diagram, the build platform and the part, it is lowered into the liquid resin. The differentiator here it is, there are rollers along with this LPU unit. These rollers, what it does, it gently squeezes this resin out from under the part to generate a very thin, even layer of resin. So as soon as it is doing that, there is a laser inside it as well. So it will start curing. So this process goes on repeating layer by layer. And the build platform, it will lift out of liquid resin. Again, it will lower down. Like this, layer by layer, it happens. So through this, the heavy forces are reduced here. And we can obtain better prints and better surface finish you can obtain using this technology. So in the last diagram, you can see the film is relaxing and then it is ready to print the next layer. Like this, successively, many layers are printed to obtain your model. So let me explain the workflow of SLA 3D printing. So these are the 3 general steps used in SLA 3D printing. So the very first step, as we saw earlier also, it is the designing. So you use a CAD software, or either you can directly use 3D scan data as well. Like nowadays, instead of conventional CMM, people are switching to 3D scanners, where directly using laser light scanning, you can obtain a more accurate models. That scan data directly can be 3D printed. And the 3D printable format is either STL or OBJ format. Then the next step we go into is printing. So in printing, there is a print preparation software called Preform. It is also developed by Formlabs for SLA 3D printing. Compare this to the FDM 3D printing, we have Slicer. There is one open source slicer software called as Ultimaker Cura, which is developed by MakerBot, that we can use for making the slicing. But here we are going to use a software called as Preform. So I'll just show you how we use the Preform. Then we'll go on to see the real demo. Then we'll again come back to see what is post-processing and all. We'll continue with the benefits and cost analysis. So this is a software. So it is a Preform. So the first thing is you need to load your models. And the preferable file format is STL or OBJ. Here you can see the impeller. I'm just using it for demonstration purpose. On left side, you can see some of the options, like the first thing is size. So you can scale this component. You can increase the size or decrease the size according to your requirement. And you can generate supports using this. So you have to select this component. So here you can see I've used the scaling factor of 1.5, or you can directly drag and drop this so that component, whatever factor you want, you can make that size. And on right side, the main important parameters you can see. So what is the resin we are using? So it is currently the black V4 resin, and the default print settings are set, and the layer thickness is 0.1 mm. So that is 100 micron layer thickness. Here also, based on your application, you can choose the setting. So 100 micron, 200, 250 micron. So it depends actually. Like if you are in aerospace application, if you are doing, your surface finish plays a very important role. Or if you're using some mechanical application, maybe strength is your criteria. So it all depends on your application. And here you can see what is the print time taken for the model, and how many layers it is going to print, and what is the volume of resin it is going to consume. So it is 80 ml resin it is consuming. And printability, you can see here, it is giving a warning. So model is directly placed on the build platform. So we cannot print like this one as it is, because as you can see the blade profile, these are actually like we need support structures here. So I just show how to generate support structures. Again, you have to select the model before applying any setting. Then on the left side, you can see the second icon, that is for orientation. If you want to change the print orientation, you can do that. And the third one is for supports. So again, supports, there are different types of supports. Basically, where do you want to support, generate a support, that is very important, because here your blade profile is important. So there you need the very high surface finish. That is the place actually you don't want support. But here there is an auto generate option also. Let me just give it and see. So this is basically supports are extra materials where there is overhanging support structures will be generated, that we'll have to remove in post-processing stage. And our main aim is to get printability pass. In the right hand side, you can see it is still in warning. So once we get the printability pass, then only we can go ahead for the print. And right now it is, I'm using a virtual printer. You can directly connect through USB to your real printer. Or there is one more option called as remote printing, where right now actually our machine is in Bangalore and I am sitting in Shumoga. So I can take control of the machine. I can give print from here itself, and I can monitor its progress. So what is happening, what is its status, whether the print is going as it is scheduled or not. So those parameters I can monitor, or if I want to stop it, I can do that. So that option is also available in this machine. So you can see the supports it is generating right now. So basically this is going to take some time. In that meantime, we'll try to see the printer properties. supports are generated. You can see here. So main difference is here you can see it is not continuous support. Here there are spikes like structures. And it is very easy to remove these structures. Just by manual only we can remove it. And here you can see the RAF type given is full RAF. That is for the full entire model. There will be a support structure generated and its density and touch point size. Touch point size is each of these spikes actually, it will be in contact with the model. So what is that size? So that is in 0.5 mm it is there. And now you can see in the right side, you can see the printability is pass. Just look over the entire model, how it is generated. But here actually, you can see here it is generated support. So this we don't want. So what we can do is, there is one more option called, there is one more option, you can change this orientation so that we can avoid supports at these structures. And this software, it minimum RAM it is supported is 4 GB and above. So the recommended RAM is actually 8 GB. So that's why it is hanging, you can see here. Otherwise, we can change the orientation of this model so that we can avoid, like wherever that blade surface is there, those support structures we can avoid. Okay. We can use this orientation, or there is one more option called one-click print, where the system itself will automatically orient so that it will avoid these supports at those specific places. So let's see this is the best orientation calculated by the software. And here it will generate the support. And our main focus is on blades. Here base actually, how much ever support is there, we can do post processing to make smooth surface finish. So this is how you do print preparation using preform. And then once that model is ready and it is given the printability is passed, you can directly upload the job to your machine. And the machine will have a default memory of up to 64 GB. So you can directly send this model to the machine and it will start printing. So right now it is taking some time to generate support. So in that meantime, we'll go to Lohit. He can give a demo of how the machine looks like, and you can see in real actually how the resin tank looks, how the build platform will be there. And then again, we'll come back to the same location and we'll see how the supports have been generated. Lohit?
Yes, Raghavendra.
Yeah, shall we start? Yeah.
Is my screen visible?
Yeah.
Okay. So hi everybody, good morning. I am Lohit Purwal, a team member of Akruti 3D Private Limited. Today I will be demonstrating the 3D printer over here, which is a Formlabs 3 beam machine, where we are going to print a sample model over here. So this is the machine which has a covering over here protected from UV light as well as the sun rays to avoid the solidification of the liquid resin. This is the touch screen display where we can set our conditions. So first one is the home condition where our machine is ready to print. So it's asking for a user to upload a job and where we can see how the job is going to look like. So previously we had uploaded many jobs for this in this particular machine. So the data is stored in the second, that is in the queue option over here. So if I do a touch screen, I can see that there are many different jobs available to us. And whichever part I want, I can reprint it without even asking the sender to send the model again, so that I can reconnect it, then reprint it, to avoid those type of issues. And due to unavailability of the user also, we already have the data stored in over here. So I'll be selecting the same impeller model which Raghavendra was showing to you. I'll click on this particular impeller. Now we can see whatever Mr. Raghavendra was saying, approximately the same information is being displayed over here. The printing time is going to be taken is 6 hours and 7 minutes. The material information is being given, like which resin we are going to use, then how many layers are going to get printed, and who was the creator of this particular model. So information related to this is available. And if we click on print, the machine will start printing, which I'll be showing in another few minutes. After that, we do have different notifications over here to see that if our machine is working right or not. So for example, we have the resin tank placed or not. If the resin tank is placed, which is what is the material in that, or which liquid resin we are using it. So that information is given by the display screen over here. After that, we have a base plate, which is the print plate. So if the print plate is placed in position, then it will give a correct symbol. If it is not, it will give an error message, which I'll show how we can rectify that. Then we have a cartridge over here, which you can see there are 3 different cartridges available over. These are the resin containers where resins are kept in this. So we have elastic tough resin as well as clear resin. So currently we have 3 displayed over here, and 1 more resin is placed in the back side. So I'll be showing how it was. Then, as Mr. Raghavendra was telling, that it has a Wi-Fi connectivity, that you can use this system from a remote place also. So we have the connectivity information, that is the IP address of the system is available, and different issues or how to solve different issues and maintenance, everything the system is going to pop up. So coming to the parts of this particular machine, first I'll be showing you the resin cartridge over here. So I am removing this particular cartridge from the back portion. So here we can see that we have name as clear resin. It has the information code over here, and different information is being given regarding this particular component. So I'll be inserting this particular resin as like this at the back portion. So to see that if the resin is important, see, can you see there is a red color being displayed over here? I doubt that it might be not clear, but here we are getting a red indication that the resin tank is, or the resin cartridge is missing. So once I place this particular resin cartridge over here, it turns into blue in color, which means that the resin is imported and is functioning right. Next thing, after inserting this particular cartridge, I'll open this particular container or the shield. Now here we have this particular resin tank over here, which I'll be removing out for a display. So we have, I think it's a bit visible. Can you all see the liquid resin inside this? Is it visible?
Yes.
Can anybody confirm me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Visible, sir.
Yeah, you can see. And this is the main USP when compared to other machines. We have a flexible resin tank here, where the base it is not fixed, whereas it is a flexible one. So that is what is different in LFS compared to normal SLA technology. Yes, Lohit, you can continue.
So after removing the resin tank, we'll again be inserting the resin tank over here. So once the lid is open, we can see an error message coming on the screen. It's saying that cover is open. So to avoid that, what we'll do, we'll insert this. And if we see that the information says that resin tank is stored, and when I close it, everything turns into blue in color. So that means the resin tank is also inserted properly. There is no error in the resin tank insertion. After this is called as the build platform, which I'll be removing now. So I'll be sliding this down, and we have this particular component called as build platform. So whatever component which has been loaded or the CAD is loaded, it will be placed over here. So for example, I have few ready CADs which we have printed. The same impeller model is ready with us. So how the model was, we kept this particular model on this particular build platform over here, and then we did the post processing, and then we remove this particular component. So I'll be showing what are the different components we printed. This is the build platform, and on this the resin is going to be impinging, as means that the low force is going to act. This particular rod over here is going to move up and down to move this build platform, and the laser is being used to solidify that particular resin. So I'll reinsert this particular build platform over here. So after reinserting, we have this knob over here, which I'll be pressing it down so that it is in proper position and it is locked, so it does not move. After that, I'll be closing this particular tank and I'll be checking that if the platform is correctly fixed or not. Now, I'll go to the machine over here and I'll be clicking on the impeller model. Next, after this, now everything is checked. We also need to check that the container, the box container over here, that is the cartridge over here, should be first be opened one time, and it should be exposed to a bit of air, where the air passing it will not create the blocking of the flow of the resin. So we need to open the resin by opening the cap over here of the cartridge, and then we need to make sure that all the steps what we have followed is right. After that, we'll click on this print option. So when I do that, it's giving me a step-by procedure here. It's telling that open the vent cap. The vent cap is of the cartridge, and make sure that it's placed correctly. So after that, I click on next. Next, it's telling that build platform is locked. If it's not locked, please lock it before printing starts. So it's giving me an instruction, step-by-step instruction, which I have already followed. Then once I click on confirm, you can see that it's telling the preparing print. It is checking the optics. There are 5 different steps which it is going to follow. The first step is optics. The second one is it's preparing the printer to see if the resin is not. Inside the resin tank, they have a movable film over there, which is moving to see how much amount of resin is there. Based on the amount of resin present in the resin tank, the resin is going to get poured from the machine, the inside the part where we can see the liquid is going to come into the system, and it is going to fill your resin tank, which will be required for your printing purpose. So now you can see it's telling that filling tank with clear resin over here. So it's actually filling the resin tank, and I can actually see that the resin is getting filled in as a small amount of or the thin layers of resin is flowing into the system, and it is getting collected. Once this step is completed, it will check for all the other settings that everything is right or not. Then it will show us the printing status. It will talk about the time it will be taking. It will show in a green mark, or it will show a circular pattern where it is showing that how much time is remaining, how many layers have been printed, how many layers are pending, what is the estimated time for completion of this particular resin. So all this information will be shown on this particular display. Now we have different material as told, elastic, which is usually used for our applications which are related to biomedical. So for example, we have completed 3 different products which I am showing it to you today. Before coming to that, we have this particular Ganesha model prepared to see how the complexity features have been captured by the system, or how the complex features is been captured by the machine over here. So how much detailing is being done on this particular part can also be visualized. After that, these are the strong materials. So if I press like this, it's not going to bend. So I'm pressing and it's not bending. So it is from the Creal material. This is from the tough material because it's strong enough. So if it's not bending, so it is used for, based on the application, we select the material. But when you come to this particular model which we have printed, it is related to some automatic brush system what we are developing. In this, if I press, you can see how flexible the material is. So it is mainly used in the bio industry or biomedicals, where the strength, the features need to be captured. So if you see, we have a 2 brush type of features over here, like to have bristles over here. So if I press the bristles, it's going to bend. How much detailing has been captured, and what are the different features can be implemented. Everything based on the design and the printing capability our machine is capable of doing. So currently, we are seeing that currently it's filling the tank. So we'll have to wait for some time till the process starts. So where I can show what is the process and how it is going to start the machine.
Yes, thank you, Lohit. So let it print actually. So it will take some time for printing. Meanwhile, let's see actually what has happened to our support, and then we'll look at some of the post-processing operation. Loit, you can prepare for demonstrating post-processing in the meanwhile. Then we'll go back to post-processing demo. I'll just share my screen. So now here you can see the machine, whatever it gave, the orientation. Now it is very minimum supports are there. So I agree there are some supports actually where this blade structure is there. But compared to the previous one, now it is better. So there are just one spike, you can see, that's all. And even that also manually we can remove it. So this is the best orientation according to the machine. So once this is done, then we can give the print. You can see left hand side corner, there is an orange color button, that is the start print. So if I press that, so it will directly, if it is connection is there with the printer, the printing will start. Otherwise, through remote printing, there will be a dedicated account for this. Through that, we can give the print. So now we'll go back to our presentation. So this is how we use preform, and then you give the printing. Once printing is done, like we'll have to do basic post-processing operation. And in SLA, these two are mandatory process. That is, one is washing and another one is curing. So for these two, what Formlabs has done is they have made it very easy. They have done these two machines. Basically, you can call this as form wash and form cure. With the help of this, we can easily do the post pressing. So what is the post pressing? So here you can see on the left side, these two are the I was talking about. One is form wash and another one is form cure. So once the print is completed and your parts, it needs to be rinsed in isopropyl alcohol solution. So why it is done? Here, the process I already explained you, it's a photopolymerization process. Basically, the laser will be curing the resin. So there will be some resin actually, it will not be cured. Maybe it is due to your geometric complexity, or there may be due to supports. There will be some uncured resin. So to remove this uncured resin from the surface, we use IP solution. We rinse the components after printing. So once this is done, then we want to do post curing. So what is this post curing is? It's basically a heat treatment process where based on different material, we can give the suitable temperature and the time for post curing, so that you will get the required strength for the component. Then once these two processes are done, then we can finally remove the supports, and remaining all other operations we can do. We can do like sanding can be done, machining, painting, buffing. So all these different post-processing techniques are there. So that can be done on this part. So SLA parts can be easily machined, primed, painted, and assembled for specific application or finishes. So this is what the post-processing aspect of it. So when you compare this with the FDM 3D printing, their support removal itself is very difficult, and it will leave an impression on the model. So even with there are some chemical processes and there are some mechanical processes for it. Even with chemical process also, you can still see visible layers in a FDM 3D printed component. So in a later stage of our presentation, we'll see actually what is the difference between a FDM printed part and SLA printed part. So there you can notice, like you can see the visible layers since it's a layered process. But in SLA, so the final finishing will be there. So it is like a injection molded component you can compare it with. So that is how the surface finish you can obtain using the SLA. So now let's have the demo of this post pressing as well. So Lohit.
Yes, sir. I'm just switching on my video.
Yeah.
So is my screen visible?
Yes.
So here, as we see on the build page, we have this particular component which is already printed. So what we'll be doing is, we'll be using this washing container to wash the component using isopropyl alcohol, and we'll be using this heat treatment process over here to give the strengthenance to the component. Now we have different tools over here which we'll be using. So the first one is the picker tool. So we'll be using this particular component to lift this particular part over here. So for example, as there are no supports and which I've already placed over here, so I'll be using this particular component by hand only, and I'll be placing it in this particular system over here. After that, we have different tools over here, but sometimes the parts are so complex that we cannot keep this particular build platform in hand and then use it. So we have this particular stand over here, which is given by the Formlab. So what we'll be doing is, we'll be sliding this particular component or this build platform on this particular system over here. And once we are sliding it, we can see that it is having a grip support over here. So once this particular support is there, we'll place it like this over here on the table, and then we'll be using this tools over here to remove the particular supports, to break the supports. We also have different types of cutters available over here. So we'll be using these cutters, and we'll be cutting the supports where we actually saw in the software that additional supports were getting generated on the impeller blade if we do not give it as an auto orientation. So in that case, we'll be using this particular cutter to remove those particular type of supports. So after removing this particular type of supports, now we'll be using this particular system over here, which is washing over here. So I'll be clicking on start, the amount of time, how much time it is required for washing. So that information I'll be giving, and based on that, the system is going to use for washing. So I'll click on start first, and I'll click on pause again. So what happens? The system is going to open, and the container is going to come up where I will be able to keep my part over here. So assume that this is the raw part which we have taken from the picker, and now I'll be keeping this in the system where the entire model is placed such that the entire model gets immersed into the system. Once I do that, I click on start, and the container is going to go down along with the part which is placed over here. Now what is going to happen? This lid got closed, and we'll be seeing the turbulence effect of the close which is moving around the system, and it is going to clean your part over here. So I have given this particular system to run for 20 minutes. So this particular again depends on the type of application and how much amount of resin is being used. So currently for this particular part, I think around 35 ml totally we have used, where we had two different parts. So for 35 ml, we are using around 20 minutes to run, and it's going to clean this particular system. After this, once the particular cleaning is happening, or after this particular model is done, we'll be using this particular system for heat treatment. So where I have already printed the component and which is there inside this. So as you can see, I have two components placed already over here. So these are the two components again. I'll be keeping in this system, which is the circular plate or circular bed over here where the heat is going to be emitted. So I'll be closing this entire system over here. Again, here I have to set the timing. I have to set the degrees over here for heat treatment. So for example, if I click on 60 minutes, and if I rotate like this, if I rotate the knob over here, I am able to change the timing over here. So for example, for this one, it's already heat treated, and if I do more, it is going to become more solid. So for example, I'll just keep it for 2 minutes, 60 degrees Celsius, and if I click on start, it will start with heating where the required temperature is 60 degrees, but the room temperature is at around 27 degrees Celsius over here. So based on that, the required amount of temperature is being raised into the system, and after that, we'll also be able to see that the beautiful image of the component with the revolution will be shown over here. So in that case, I'll just move the screen a bit closer to the system, and you'll be able to see the image over here of like how the model is going to be. So let's wait till the printing gets completed. In the meantime, the washing is also going to get completed. If it's visible, then it's good. If it's not, then it's actually a reflection over here. That's why I think the image is not clear. I can see that the liquid profile is actually moving in diagonal direction and it's actually cleaning from all the angles of the fire what we have generated. So just let us wait. It's almost 35 degrees Celsius. So it's increasing to 60 degree. So let us wait for another 2 minutes. Then we'll see how the image gets appear on this particular screen. So it's actually a mirror where the internal component, how it is rotating, the color effects and everything can be seen on this particular image over here. So let's wait for a few minutes.
So meanwhile, Lohit, we can show the finish kit, right? Some of the tools we use for finishing.
Okay. I do that. So we get different components in our finish kits. So I'll be showing one by one out of over here. So the first one would be this particular suction pump. So it is used to fill this particular tank, either fill or remove by using this particular suction pump. So if I press this, the liquid is going to be pumped in and pumped out. Based on the application what we are using. If you want to pump in, we usually use this is in a particular can, and then we keep this particular pipe in the system. And by pressing this, it's going to suck the liquid from the tank and it's going to fill this particular washer container over here. So this is the pump which we are using. After that, we have a flat plate where we keep the components. So we actually get this particular type of container. So in this container, we store our gloves, tool kits, and also what and all we get along with the kit is as over here. So once I open the container, we get an entire system of gloves, which has to be used whenever we are whenever we are printing the machine or whenever we are removing any components from the printer. So that time, because the resins are so sticky and they might be allergic to the skin, the utmost care has to be taken by removing this particular component. After that, we have this plucker. So there are different type of pluckers given to us. So if some component is like this, and if I want to just pluck it like this, or if I have to give some force over here, I can use this particular component. If some component is very flat and if I want to remove it, I use this particular flat base peeler and I just insert it and I just try to remove it as how we remove dosa on the what do you call pan. So it's similar like that, but it's used for this particular application. Then we have this particular cutter system. So we get 2 cutters along with this. Then we have a sort of picker. So what we do is we use this particular picker. So to hold it's a forceps, which we use it in medical industry mainly. So if some sort of application requires this particular type of forceps, then yes, we do have this particular forceps in the system. And I guess we do have this particular holding tray holding system. So what it does is we can insert it in this particular component and we can just like this, so and we can remove our particular system out of this. So it's based on this particular equipment, like how to hold this particular component if you're not using your hands directly. So this is the thing. I think we have almost attained 50 degrees Celsius over here. So in the meantime, I just remove so that we'll be able to see a clear image over here.
So Lohit, since we have limited time, so I'll just continue the presentation. You just let me know when it starts. We'll see the thing. So we just saw the demo of the 3D printer and the post-processing operation involved with that, that is form wash and form cure. Now let's quickly go through what are the benefits of SLA 3D printing. So the main thing is actually isotropy. So with SLA, you can obtain highly isotropic parts. Whereas in FDM, since it happens in layer by layer fashion, so the mechanical properties will be different in different directions, in XYZ directions. But with SLA, you can obtain highly isotropic parts. So why it is that difference? You can see in the image here. So here different filament strands are getting deposited, and it is really not getting bonding. So in FDM, so there are some visible voids you can see, and there are some interfiber bonding region and void where layers didn't fully adhere. So this is the reason FDM parts are anisotropic, whereas in SLA, so it will be in a semi-reacted green state, and there will be covalent bond formation, so that your entire model, it will be continuous model. So it is there won't be porosity in this. That is why these are isotropic parts we can produce using this technology. And the next important benefit is watertightness. So some of the engineering and manufacturing applications, you need airtight and watertight models, and we can readily use SLA parts over there. For example, here you can see one coffee maker. This is one case study where a company called Oxo, it is relying on watertightness of SLA 3D printed parts, so to create robust functional prototypes. And the next benefit is accuracy and precision. So compared to machine accuracy, SLA, it ranges between standard machining and fine machining. So whatever the image you're seeing, so it's one of the dental models. So we have overlapped original CAD model with the one printed. Actually, we scanned it, and those two models are overlapped, and you can see how much deviation it is there. So most of 80% of the surface, it is well within 30 micron range. So this is what the level of accuracy and precision you can achieve. And compared to all other commercially available 3D printing technologies, so SLA has the highest tolerance. In FDM, normally 100 micron for very fine prints we use, but here up to 25 micron we can obtain. And the next thing is you can obtain fine features and very smooth surface finish. Here you can see one of the Gillette application on the right side. So this is, they have created an entire product line based on this application, where you can obtain customized handles. So if you want your name etched on the handle, you can do it. And the complete handle, it is 3D printed. And on left side image, you can see the two models. So one is printed using FDM, and another one is it is printed using SLA. So in FDM, you can see visible layer lines are available. You can see that. But in SLA 3D printing, it will be smooth surface finish will be there. So you can directly compare it to injection molding parts. And even if you compare it with other technology like SLS, so that is laser sintering process. So there also we obtain a grainy surface that is due to the sintered powder. But since we are chemical process we are using, so you will be able to obtain a very smooth surface finish. And the next very important benefit is material versatility. Like you have a wide range of materials as for your application. So we have some resins for dental specific, we have some for engineering, and there are some general applications as well. So if you want soft or hard material, we can choose. If you want insert some secondary materials into that and want to do a composite, that also we can do. So this ranges from application to application. So I'll just show some of the material. So these are the.
Sorry, I would like to interrupt because I am ready with the over here. So I will need to share the screen.
Okay. So quickly we'll go have a look over the curing, how it is happening.
So here we are able to see the image purple color light which is getting generated, and the parts which are placed inside, they're actually rotating and they're getting heated up. In addition to this, if you can also see that the washing has been completed and the part has automatically come out, and we will be taking this particular part. For example, this particular part is printed and I am just taking this using the gloves in my hand. So I will be taking this, I will be pausing this particular system over here, and I will be keeping this particular part in this particular equipment over here. So once I do that, I am keeping this over here. I will close this system over here. It will automatically resume, and now it is showing that the system is working. I believe that this purple color screen is visible over here. Is it visible?
Yes, Lohit, it's visible.
Very much.
So here the parts are moving and it's getting heated up. And based on that, the toughness of the material, how flexible we want. It's a flexible material, but based on the heat treatment, the toughness also get introduced. So keeping all those in mind, and we have some standards for this particular biomedical applications. Where if you're using an elastic material, what should be the temperature and for how much time you have to heat it up. So based on that information, we usually set this particular system and we do the post processing of the entire model which we have printed. Right. So Raghav, over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Lohit, for the wonderful demo. So we'll just quickly look at the remaining benefits. So as you can see, there are wide range of materials available for your application. So these are some of the standard materials like clear resin, white resin, and the draft resin is the one which is the fastest 3D printing one actually. Compared to FDM 3D printing, at least 5 to 10 times actually more speed actually you can obtain using draft resin. And you can use this to make internal channels also, and outside features also you can capture using these materials. And these are some of the materials specifically used for engineering, like rigid material, tough material. And if you want some flexible components or you want silicone-like components, you can use flexible 80A and elastic 50A. And these are some of the materials for medical and jewelry. So the castable resin is one which can be used for making casts of the wax patterns. And this is entire range of materials for dentistry. These are actually having biocompatibility, as well as if you want to use for temporary or permanent restorations, you can use accordingly. So there is dental clear resin as well, surgical guide resin is there, custom tray resin is there. So based on your exact application, we can choose the material. And coming to cost analysis, here I have just compared 3 different technologies. Like one is hobbyist FDM, that is the very preliminary one, the consumer FDM printer. And the second one is desktop, like what we saw Form 3 or Form 3B. And the third one is industrial SLA. So there is difference actually between the first two. You can see there is almost 4 to 5 times it is costlier. But if you see the machine cost, just with an additional $1,000, you will be able to get an industrial quality. So that if you compare it with the industrial SLA and desktop SLA, you can see the huge margin between the machining cost as well as the part cost. So this is just on for reference. So if you want more specific details, you can get in touch with our team. So coming to applications, so it can be used in manufacturing for fabricating realistic proof of concept models and high fidelity prototypes. And you can use this in engineering and product design, where custom tools can be done, molds can be done. And we are primarily working in Shimoga and Belgaum, where there are majority of foundries are there. So we are helping them with casting patterns and runner gating systems. And in education, obviously, like we can use 3D printing as a project based learning tool, as well as for immersive learning and advanced research tool also we can use. And medical, there has been extensive application, like there is bone tissue happening, bioprinting happening, and the surgical guides, you can do custom surgical guides and tools. And if you're a fan of series, actually on the left hand side, you can see one of the creature, actually it was used in Stranger Things Netflix series. So that also to create high definition physical models. Actually in movie industry also people are using, and in audiology, jewelry. So I'll just give a brief overview of dental 3D printing. So this is the digital workflow for dentistry. That is first thing you do the patient that scanning, like using intraoral scanner, or if you have a desktop scanner, you do the scanning of the patient. Then you obtain the model that you can either redesign, like you can add some restoration or crown bridge model you want to do, you can add in that stage. Then we directly go for 3D printing process. So in dental 3D printing, we can do cost-effective, mass customized digital production, and across a wide range of components. Like you can print crowns, bridge, and temporary restorations, and customized trays, casting patterns, whatever may be the application, a wide range you can cover using this. And what are the advantages? So one thing is it is highly accurate. So you can just see here. So all the accuracy range, it is in 50 micron range. So these removable die models, so there will be crisp margins. So those accurate models we can obtain using Form 3B. And compared to the costing, as I already earlier told to you, so compared to FDM, it is little bit expensive. But if you use it in your overall production, or if you inculcate in your daily activity, here is just one study actually, which is showing that your entire investment, it will be ROI will be in a period of 7 weeks. So this also case to case we can work on, and we can give you the exact data. So what is the investment required, and compared to how you can incorporate in regular production process. And there is with this one you can obtain fast and efficient production. That is like a full build you can use, or like you want to do batch production, that also can be done using Form 3B series. So with this, actually, I think like we have a time limitation. If there is some questions, we can just take it now. Kirtan, if there are some questions, we can take now.
Yes, thank you, Raghavendra and Lohit, for the wonderful demo and presentation. And if anybody has any questions, you can please ask, or you can drop a message in the chat box. And I'll also be sharing a feedback link. And before that, now I would like to hand over the mic to Mr. Bharat from JSS, and he would be giving the vote of thanks. And simultaneously, I'll share the feedback link, which can be filled by the participants. Okay, over to you, Mr. Bharat. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, you're audible.
Good morning, respected Raghavendra sir and the entire Akruti Private Limited team. My dear colleagues, students, and all the participants. It's my privilege to have been asked to propose a vote of thanks on this question. Respected Raghavendra sir, you have given us a wonderful information and demonstration of 3D printing technology. It was pleasing to watch. Thanks to Mr. Lohit Purwal sir for giving a live demo of SLA 3D printing machine. I urge the students to take this opportunity effectively to build their careers in 3D printing technology. On behalf of the Department of Mechanical Engineering and JSS Academy of Technical Education, I extend my sincere thanks to you, sir, and your entire Akruti 3D team. I also wish to express my gratitude to our beloved principal, Dr. Prityunjaya Vilate, for providing us constant encouragement and support. I am very grateful to Dr. Suresh Holi, sir, for organizing this wonderful event. Finally, I place on record my thanks to all my dear colleagues, students, and all the participants who are here. Thank you, one and all.
Okay.
So we'll be circulating the feedback form to your mail ID provided. So kindly give your feedback so that we can work on how to improve the further presentations and webinars. And I would like to personally thank Dr. Suresh Holi sir for giving this opportunity. And we look forward to collaborate with the institute in any activities regarding in this 3D printing. So thank you, sir. Thank you for the wonderful opportunity.
Thanks for this also, Mr. Raghavendra. We will be definitely in constant touch with you as and when required, and we'll try to have a MOU in if possible, and everything goes well. Thank you for all the support and the live demo by wonderful live demo by Lohit Purwal. Thank you, Akruti 3D and team.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.
Feedback link has been shared in the chat box. It would take just a few seconds of your time. Please do drop in feedback. Thank you.